Foundation, aka Madam Gutsy, founder of the Gutsy Women Organization. I'm here with Avatar and Christabel. We came to SOINJEFF Foundation for Children with Special Needs. We came to spend time with them. It's not new that most people forget that there are people who need special attention or care in our world, or particularly in Nigeria today. And the treatments parents and children who have certain disabilities get is really discouraging. So I'm here with them to talk to them about what we do and how society can adjust as regards to handling or treating parents and children with such disabilities. So please tell us about your organization or foundation rather and what you do.
We're SOINJEFF Foundation, and we are currently working in Enugu, specifically, and we work with children with special needs. Now, when we say children with special needs, we're not just saying in the societal world, every side. We're talking about children that are like every other person, but have one problem or the other, either problem with their speech or problem with how they're cognitive, how they're learning, or things like that, how they write. You'll be very surprised that there are kids that look, in fact most of the kids we work with, they look very okay, but when you get to realize, okay, they have a problem, it's when they are speaking to, when they try to speak to you, or you try to speak to them and then they are not responding back, or you see some of them very chatty and very responsive, but when it comes to academics, they are not doing it the way you want them to do it, and then they will now require extra attention. Now when they get the extra attention, it only just gives them, maybe the extra attention they get in the end is just a different methodology of them learning, and then you see them very excited to learn in that way, and they do their academics as best as every other person has been doing it. So when we say special needs, we're not categorizing them as people that are completely dumb in quotes, but they just have that need for the extra attention. So we cater for those kind of children, and we enjoy what we do.
Thank you so much. Only used to what we call deaf, dumb, just like said, imbecile, or children with Down syndrome, so to say. So what are the most common neurological disabilities?
So when we say neurological disabilities, we mean disabilities that has to do with your central nervous system, like your brain. So there's like a default in your brain. Now, the children we work with are children with autism, cerebral palsy, children with Down syndrome, even though you mentioned Down syndrome already. Down syndrome. We also work with children with dyslexia, with attention deficit hyperactive disorder, that's ADHD, with children with just attention deficit disorder, that's ADD, and then any other neurological disabilities, learning disabilities, children with speech and language problems like childhood apraxia of speech, and basically anything that has to do with communication, behavior, or cognitive skills in general. So that's the kind of children we work with.
Okay. You know, from this side, most people, they don't like to see that their child has certain problems. Yeah. You know, and there's the tantrums children show. People think it's normal. They don't want to seek for special help, or they don't even want to, like, live in denial. They don't want to believe that there is something wrong with our child. So what are the signs to look out for?
Now, specifically for autism, the signs to look out for when you see an autistic child, because most of them look very beautiful from the outside, so you don't get to see anything physically wrong with them. So what you look out for is their communication skill, okay, which is very important. Now, some of them have poor communication. Some of them have poor communication. Some of them have repetitive behavior. Then for some of them, in fact, let's just put it this way. For every child that is autistic, they get to have these things in common. Communication problem, repetitive behavior, and then they have please help me out. Socialization. Now, their social skills are usually very, very poor. It's either they are very clingy to some people, or they are not even willing for people to be around them. So they enjoy that self play and self everything. I enjoy being on my own. So when they are on their own, it feels like the world is complete. So they don't really get to notice you. As a mom now, imagine if you come home from work and then your child doesn't even notice that you came in and you just doing what he's doing. It feels like the child doesn't love you. Well, that's a sign you should look out for. It's not like he doesn't love you. Another thing is eye contact. They don't get to really give eye contact per se. So you are looking at them and then they are trying to avoid looking at you, and they are looking everywhere else. Not because they don't want to have a communication with you, but it doesn't just feel comfortable for them to have an eye contact. Then another early sign is when you call a child and the child knows that it is me but does not respond to his name. So you keep calling, oh James, and then the child is just doing what he's doing. Then when you say come and take, the child quickly runs to go and take, because he knows that okay, you have something that is enticing to give. But when you call the name or you say do this, the child is just there and doing what he or she wants to do. So that's another sign. So those are the basic signs to look out for as a parent. Then subsequently a qualified therapist or a pediatric neurologist can give, and a psychiatrist, a child psychiatrist can give a diagnosis based on what they see for the child's neurological disability. So that's it.
Thank you so much. So, Christabel, like I said the first time, society lives in denial. People don't like to know or face the fact that they have a particular problem. And then people are very unkind. Most times we say something but our actions are different from what we say. So how will you encourage people to care for or treat parents and children with such disability?
Okay, so basically there's this 3 A's of knowing that you have someone living with autism or someone living with a disability. We have acceptance, which is the most important thing. Awareness is the first thing, to be aware that there's something like special needs. So that's where we are right now in Nigeria, creating awareness for all people with special needs, making talks, going to places, making sure people are aware that there's something about children that are different and that it's not a bad thing. So when we are able to create awareness, we are educating people that okay, there's something called autism or neurological disabilities or learning disabilities, and then people get to be aware. Then the next thing is acceptance. Okay, so they've accepted that there's something like this in our society. How do we work with them? How do we love them? That's the question you're asking now. So when by loving them, you can first understand what they are all about and then help them. Now, let me use autism as a specific example. They have problems with communication, right? So if you find a child in the society, a child that is having problems with communication, you can help the child by educating that child or teaching that child a little bit of communication. So instead of just looking and say, oh, this child is weird, why not just say hello to the child and move away? There's this saying that if you don't have anything good to say, just keep quiet, keep silent. So if you don't have anything nice to say, you can just be silent. But then being silent is not going to cut it out for us in Nigeria right now. So about loving them and taking action, which is the third thing, adjustment. When you have accepted that okay, there is this disability, you are aware of this disability, you have accepted it, then you adjust. So things like a child has problems with sound, you help reduce the sound, reduce the noise. A child has problems with light, it's too bright. You help the child by reducing the light or teaching the child how to adjust to that light. A child has a problem with, like I said, communication. You help the child to communicate by labeling the activities. oh, sorry, you don't know how to say, okay, we are going out, we are jumping, we are doing that. You are helping the child by living. So it's basically understanding these children that they are not, there's nothing wrong with them. They don't have problems per se, but they're just thinking differently and helping them understand our society. That's what society can do to help.
Okay, to add to what she said, generally, I think if we can all go about telling the next person to get aware of these kids, it will go a long way to educate our society generally on how to identify them and how to behave when we're around them. Because if we just know it and then we keep quiet within ourselves, the information remains within ourselves, and then we're the only ones making efforts to do something for them. But if everyone knows that, okay, there are neurological disabilities, just like this, visual problems, and people wear glasses and they're accepted in the environment, that's the same way we should also see these kids and they should be accepted in the environment. That way, even parents will be willing to take their children out to play, take their children to parties, take their children to church, take their children to functions, and that way you have automatically included the child into the environment, and the child has learned how to be in the environment and behave like every other person.
Thank you so much. We found out that in Enugu there are a lot of parents who live with children with disabilities, but they don't come out to talk, or they don't come out with their kids because of how society reacts to them, how society treats them less. We are hoping that as a group, the Gutsy Women in partnership or collaboration with their foundation, by the grace of God, before the end of the year, we will create awareness, because I think most of the parents, especially mothers, they need to be encouraged, they need to be treated better. We are hoping to create more awareness as regards to this. Thank you so much.